All right, guys. Hope everyone's doing well today. Hope everybody had a great weekend. It's great to be back. Talking a little bit about the Smallie Chase River Bassin event over the weekend, plus a lot of other housekeeping stuff we got going on. We got a big event this weekend. Bassathon, Kayak Adventure Series, South Boston, Virginia starts. Festivities start tomorrow night, but then you've got the event starting on Friday night, Saturday night. Unfortunately, Caps game tomorrow night, Wednesday night. So it'll be a little later on the week making it down there for big event. Should be the biggest event of the weekend. Doesn't matter, largemouth, smallmouth, all in play. So if you normally chase largemouth bass, you got plenty of. They're spawning. There's bass in all three phases right now on a lot of the lakes that are in play for Bassathon this weekend. And then you got the smallmouth and the three rivers river systems that have been absolutely straight fire for the last week or so. Here, straight up, man, it's freaking, people are just slamming them. 95 inches yesterday, Tidal Potomac. Hit me up if you want that juice. I know there's some events coming up on the Tidal Potomac. And then 88 good day on the upper Potomac with some smallmouth. So, there's a lot going on in the river systems, a lot going on all across the region with the weather. We're been in the mid-70s, probably going to hit maybe tap 80. So it's been pretty mild, a mild 80. So we've gotten a lot of stuff just triggering up after this winter that we just had. They kind of crushed the region for a little bit, but it's bouncing back really good. Water levels are pretty solid for this weekend. They were pretty good. We'll have some guys on here in a few minutes to talk about what they saw at the James River, in the different sections that were fished during the Rumble on the River event. But water levels seem pretty good for the weekend, 5-6 feet on the Stanton River, Roanoke Stanton River down there. That's pretty solid when you get above 6 feet, to 7 feet from what I understand. They tend to do a lot better down there with some big fish. There are some big ones in that place. There's just some pretty long floats. It's just one of those rivers that doesn't have a lot of ramps, doesn't have a lot of public access. So you're basically doing 11, 12-mile floats. But if you're willing to do that and you're willing to set up with that, you're going to get on some big fish. I think the striper run, those kind of things have now kind of subsided a little bit. I think they had their big striper event last weekend, I think, down there in Brookneal, I think. Around that area. So should be really, really great. And check that out, Kayak Adventure Series. Hit that QR code right here on the screen. Take you right to Kayak Adventure Series. You can kind of check out everything that's available, in terms of the weekend. You've got individual event, starts Friday, 3 o'clock. You fish 3 to 7. You don't have to fish 3 to 7. You can just fish on Saturday. You've got a team event, same thing. You've got a micro bag event. You got everything, so there's really no reason. I mean, if you love to chase greenfish or smallmouth, this is the event this weekend that you want to check out. You're talking about major non-endemic sponsors for the Kayak Adventure Series. Think brands like GoPro, major kayak brands. I personally cannot think of another kayak trail that has put together, a balanced collaboration of partners at that level, at the national level, than Kayak Adventure Series. And if you look at all the supporting businesses and partners that are on board to help grow that series and take that series to a major national level, you can't beat it. You're not going to be able to beat the payouts. You're not going to be able to beat the opportunity to win $7,500 in this event. I think it's like a kicker bonus from GoPro, $12,500, I think, in the next event. But all that really depends on us. All that really depends on, anglers willing to participate, anglers willing to, a lot of people, there's a lot of noise in the community, you know what I mean, about things. So, but at the end of the day, if anglers don't step up and register, it all is for naught. You know what I mean? It's based on registrations and, at that level. And it's great that, the Bassmaster now is I think he had 233 anglers show up at Dale Hollow, which is awesome. The guys showed out. Smallie showed out. Some largemouth as well, but Smallie showed out pretty good on the board. It's always really great, though, that, we'll talk to the guys a little bit about this. because a lot of times a national event gets close to the region. That's probably the closest a Bassmaster has been to our region. There is talks of Bassmaster coming in 2026 to potentially the James River, which we're going to talk about tonight, or possibly the New River, another phenomenal fishery. So, we'll see, at the end of the day, what decision Bass makes. Obviously there's a lot of stuff they got to go around with cities and permits and all that stuff for an event of that caliber, an event of that size. 233 anglers, and then you've got some other events in the region that have like maybe 25 anglers or less, and you look at more citations were caught in some of those other events, right? And so it really shows out. It really shows that lake and river diversity that that we have kind of in that centrally located Eastern Tennessee, West Virginia, Maryland region in terms of lakes with smallmouth, lakes with largemouth, and then our river systems with both largemouth and smallmouth. So it's always if you're an analytic geek like me, you take a look at that stuff. You look for all the citations, you know what I mean, in all the events, and I track it on a spreadsheet for my sources and contacts that I can give to, that kind of help with people with surveys and how they rate these river systems and these lakes as whether or not they have a quality population of smallmouth or largemouth. Our series, obviously, Smallie Chaser River Bassin, targets smallmouth specifically. I think we're probably, one of the fastest, like in that niche that is just smallmouth only. Hopefully we'll continue to grow as more people, learn a little bit more about what we are different. It's not everybody's shot of whiskey. I'm going to tell you that much. I've had people tell me it's just like it's just a different way about it. A lot of events are gauged towards payouts and payouts only. So it's like, the top 3 guys, 2 guys, or maybe the top 15 in a major event get payouts, and that's it, right? But there are some other series like ours that are starting to change the model a little bit. Drew Gregory's doing an incredible job changing the model as well at Kayak Adventure Series, because it's not just about payouts, okay? We all know when we go up against and you look at the national scene, there's a reason why there's a dozen or so anglers that everybody knows. It's because they win. They win wherever they go. And it's a testament to their skills and quality as anglers. And a lot of people hesitate about entering, events because of that, because it seems like the same people win consistently all the time. And that can sometimes be a detriment to a series, especially a club. I've had a lot of people in other clubs reach out to me that are interested, in entering events, and these are the conversations that I have. And it's just kind of how that thing happens. You're going to have really, hammers wherever you go, you know what I mean? And people who got a lot more time on the water have been to places multiple times, so they're more familiar with a lot of these rivers at the national event. But I can understand it. But if you look at COS, if you look at our series, you look at some of the other series around the country that are slowly moving towards more of a payout for sure, but also prizes with partners, local regional brands that want to get on board. I've been in the middle of that. I haven't done as many videos on the JL Scott Fishing channel this year because I've just been knee deep in NIL. I've been knee deep in 2026 in the college scene, in college fishing, and getting the deals done for the boats, getting the deals done with the dealers, and getting all the deals done for 2026. You know what I'm saying? So it takes away from, that content, a lot of the content stuff. I still try to get some shorts up there, but, I haven't really got a chance to really grow, really continue to grow the channel much because, I'm knee deep in that stuff when I'm, in terms of working out those deals, working out the colleges, universities, growing the sport the back way, NIL. For those of you who are not familiar, a lot of people think about it be about football, basketball. That's the noise you hear. But NIL is everybody. Division 1, 2, and 3. It's all college athletes now. It does not matter what the sport. Now, the NCAA isn't regulated fishing yet, right, as a sanctioned sport necessarily. But college campuses and clubs on campus are allowed to get that NIL money from private businesses and stuff like that to fish in Bassmaster. Doesn't matter whether it's Bassmaster Kayak College Series, okay? Got one school with that going down. We got the boater side going down, the college series on the boater side, okay? So there's a lot of stuff that's, that's going on that's still really positive, I know registrations are down. I've talked to other tournament directors across the region, And so I encourage everyone to kind of step up their game. If you're in our community, I'm going to get on this week and make sure I got the right information from some of these other series. So guys that fish with us can also fish with, other series. I know this Sunday, there's an event. If you want to go chase some big fish, on Sunday on the Tidal Potomac, you can enter the River Runners event on Tourney X on Sunday. We got a few guys that fish with us that fish with River Runners. Dave Crockett's a great guy. Maryland, probably the most solid club, best club in Maryland. No drama, great people, welcoming people. Talked to Dave numerous times. That's what it's about. So if you want to go out of that comfort zone, you know what I mean? Same as like a lot of those guys may chase, largemouth a lot, but they want to join us on the upper James, or they want to join us on the Shenandoah on May 17th, right? Or they want to fish Bass Nation. Sean's doing an incredible job with Bass Nation Virginia. First time in a long time we've had multiple qualifier events. They had one at Sandy and Briary, which kind of sets up this weekend with Bassathon, because Briary Creek is one of the eligible lakes that you can fish for Bassathon this weekend, guys. So think about that, man. I was like, those guys got a jump start a few weeks back on Sandy and Briary during the Virginia Bass Nation event. Virginia Bass Nation is on the Shenandoah River, primarily for smallmouth. A lot of our guys are going to be there June 7th. That's also our Hammers Cup date. Okay, so we're doing a companion event. Our Hammers Cup is a private event, okay? So it won't be available for the general public because it's our event for our citation anglers. Our anglers in our club series and community that have caught a citation 20-inch or more smallmouth over the last year get an invitation to the Hammers Cup. So they compete against other anglers who have all caught citation bass, okay? Citation smallmouth, okay, in any of our events. So it's a fun event, but it's also a competitive event, right? And so that's what we really want to focus on. Is encouraging fun events and competitive events, right? And get people ready and make sure that people understand so they can make that jump to the next level, to Kayak Adventure Series. That has, a lot, or Bassmaster, or if Hobie comes back, maybe. Those series have 3, 4, and 5 times the entry fee level of most regional clubs in our region. Okay, you usually see about most are about $65, $70 or less, and then Bassmaster's $264. I think Hobie was more than that. When they were around, and so you got, that's a lot of money in this economy. I totally understand that, but you've got opportunities in the region to fish, series that are $50 or less, right? You've got that opportunity, and I encourage people, man. It's like, I've had a lot of people reach out to me about the Bassathon event, and it's like, look, man, you're not going to get a chance. When are you going to get a chance to fish those fish Heiko, right? Fish After Bay, fish Briary. These places don't have that many tournaments, right? And so when you're looking at schedules and you're thinking about things, you're always going to be able to fish the Tidal Potomac. You're always going to be able to fish Lake Anna and places like that. They're always Susquehanna, right? Oprah Potomac. They're always going to be on schedules, right? Every year they're on multiple schedules, okay? So even if like you're a club member, or even if, you know what I mean, and there's overlap or whatever, when are you going to get an opportunity to fish, the Dan River, the Stanton River, Roanoke River, Briary Creek, Heiko, After Bay, Bugs Island? There's very few. I mean, other than Battle on the Border, which is in the fall, there's not that many like kayak bass fishing events on Bugs Car, in that part of Virginia during the spring and summer months. There really isn't. Like, it's more boaters on Bugs than a dedicated kayak series to fish down there. Smith Mountain Lake is very similar. Way more boater events than kayak events, right? That's why it's great that Bass Nation is going to have their championship there. And so, like, I encourage you to open yourself up to like part of it for us in our community is going to fish new places, and different sections of new places. I mean, a lot of the watersheds we fish, like the Upper James we're going to talk about tonight, I mean, it's massive. And this event only covered 12 sections, right? 12 sections of the river. So, really, really, really awesome. A couple things before we get started. We can't thank. Hey, listen, man, we got great partners. You know, it's one of the things that sets our series apart. Can't thank everyone in the community enough. You guys know I'm a big show junkie. Over the years, I love to go to the shows during the wintertime when I can make them to the shows and meet new people and meet these guys that are just coming out with like incredible stuff. And I was fortunate enough this year to really connect with a lot of new people, a lot of new partners, a lot of new bait makers, especially at the custom level, to get away from like the national brands that are kind of, I mean, they're just kind of fixed in their ways, and they've got like all these different things and hoops you got to jump through and kind of sponsor like a lot of things, right? Whereas like the custom bait makers and the custom companies and some of the non-endemics that are regional, just local, they don't really have that influence, right? They don't have that ability to like, you know, drop 10 grand on a tournament, drop 25 grand or drop 15 grand to get a booth at the Bassmaster Classic or that kind of stuff. And so, you know, but they're in your community and, you know, they're in your region and you want to support them because they love fishing just like you. And so that's really awesome. So we've been fortunate enough during right now powered this event. We've got J Bros. You guys know, or at least you guys should know if you're in the know. You know, the Jester freaking is Jester. And I tell you what, man, for me, since being able to throw these, being able to get some in and be able to work with them, I got to tell you, man, the Sentinel is probably just massively underrated. Okay. The Sentinel's a tube bait, but it acts a lot different than any other tube bait in the water. And it's an incredible finesse. You can rig this any number of ways. And then we've got the double trouble crazy action. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm going to do a separate video on all that stuff and get back to it. So everybody kind of knows, but everybody's got a prize pack from this event on the Upper James River Rumble on the river is going to get J Bros. They're also going to get some incredible baits from H&H Custom Baits, crazy micro finesse jigs. These are Susquehanna Slayers. They've got a reputation of just putting massive bags on the Susquehanna. Caught a few smallies already on my river, the Upper Potomac. Really impressed. Even got the trailers to go with them, the fantail minnows. Pretty incredible stuff. Really excited for those guys to get these baits in the hands of these guys in our series. So we just had the Upper James River event on Saturday, April 26th. And crazy to see how this one played out. And it's going to be interesting to talk to the guys. We got some guys in the green, so we're gonna pop them in here really quickly. But James River is just a phenomenal fishery, guys. I think it's probably one of the most underrated smallmouth fisheries in the country. I think it's pretty much, you know, been exploited as a tidal fishery, lower James below the fall line in Richmond because of all the BFL events, Major League Fishing, Bassmaster Opens on the James River. They just had one, I think, last week. You know, and then obviously it was home to the Classic in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, right? You've also got the Chickahominy. So a lot of people consider the Upper James, you know, when they think James River, they think lower James, right? They don't think the Upper James, which is primarily smallmouth. Incredible fishery, incredible access in terms of floats available to you in the different sections. Like I broke down, just look at the previous video on the channel, Smallie Tissue channel, breaking down the sections of the James River, which will allow you to do river floats. It also allows you to have multiple shuttle services, you know, available. Shutters, there's guides. You know, if you're watching the channel, you're not a tournament angler, but you're an avid smallmouth guy. Speaking of which, man, the guides are out in force. The guides were out today. All three guides today on the Upper Potomac River. So spot number 1 had a boat on it. Spot number 2 had a kayak guide on it. Had to go to spot number 3. But that's all good. That's what it's about. Like, you know, over time, when fisheries get like the Upper James become popular, more interest gets driven, and you get more people are out on that water. So, it's really incredible to see how that worked out. I'm going to move some of this stuff off the screen here. That is your QR code for Kayak Adventure Series. You can check that out for this weekend. Registration, I think, is ongoing until Thursday night, I think. So you want to check that out. Get yourself in there for that event this weekend. If you have any questions about that at all, you certainly can hit me up. My email is always in the bottom of the description videos, whether on Smallie Chaser channel or JL Scott Fishing. So you can just send me an email. I'm gonna try and get this all, clean this all up, and we're gonna bring these guys in, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk some upper games. So we were there last year, same time last year. Okay, same time last year, same weekend in April, and so we've got that 1-for-1, 1v1 kind of comparison on what happened last year. And how the river performed this year. And so it's really interesting to look at, because in 2024 on April 27th, we hit that river up, and we had 20 anglers. We had 20 anglers last year, and 140 smallmouth were registered last year, okay? Which basically came out to be about 70 fish per angler, all right? This year, we had half as many in the field, okay? A lot of other things going on. Totally understand that in April. So we had 9 anglers fish, and 107 smallies caught, which works out to be about 11. We also had the team division, so we had teams competing. Okay, and so we are gonna pop the guys in here real quick, and we're gonna talk about this. So it was really interesting to see that as the fish started coming in, how that kind of shaped out, compared to last year. The weather was a lot different. We've also had a lot of high water, and then we've got the dam situation, which I'm going to talk to the anglers tonight about, because I think a lot of people always have that question about dams and their impact and current, and when they open up the current, and when they do that. So going to be interesting to see. All right, we're going to pop some of the guys in here real quick. There's the TNT right there. TNT, these guys in the green room are Team TNTB. That's what I called them, TNTB, from our team division. They also finished 1-2 on Saturday. Not only did they take the team division as a team, but they also finished first, second. Let's get this off. We'll get this done. We'll pop Mr. Wines in here. And Mr. Brown. Let me change my screen, gentlemen, and we will be good to go. TNT in the house.
What's up?
What is going on? I'm going to change my post screen. Once your beautiful TNT team graphic decides to disappear. There we go. There we go. Woo! All right, gentlemen. Appreciate you guys coming on a Tuesday night. I know we don't normally do these on Tuesday night. But got Mike. I got your friggin' 19.25 big Smallie right here on the screen. Big fish for the event. Beautiful fish. Actually caught 2 19.25s, but we're gonna see if I can't introduce that. Mike, you good to go? I don't know if Mike, give me a nod if you can hear us.
Hey, can you hear me, JL?
I got you good to go, Troy. We are good to go. Mike, check your microphone. Make sure you're good to go on your phone. If you've got pods, you want to take those pods out first, reboot it, and then put your pods on. That's usually kind of a conflict that kind of happens. with this. Unfortunately, I don't know why that happens, but yeah, Troy, I don't want our brownies. Probably not. Same situation for Ben, I think.
Yep.
With his phone, I don't even know if he can hear us.
I don't know. It's not looking good.
Nope. All right, I'm gonna pop him out and then pop him back in. We'll bring him back on in a second. There we go. All right, start with you, Troy. Why not?
Yep.
Hopefully, Mike,
What's
if you're
up?
listening, just do that. Log in, log back out. Make sure your pods are out. Usually, you got to make sure your mic is synced up for these things. Unfortunately, that's kind of how the techno geeks kind of get it done. Mr. Wines, how are you this evening?
I am doing great. Watching some NBA and NHL, and get ready to talk to you.
Yeah, I'll take Caps,
Yeah.
man, tomorrow night. I'm excited. Gonna be at the game, hopefully.
We'll see.
I'm pretty sure that's tomorrow night. I better not be missing it by going down to Bassin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last week's game was freaking straight fire. I haven't really watched much NBA, but I did see the Lakers get beat again. So
that's always a plus.
yeah, that's awesome. So I gotta tell everybody really quick before we get rolling that I'll let you tell the story. You tell the story about yesterday.
Oh,
I know it's Upper James River. We're going to talk about the Upper James River event, but you can tell a story if you want to tell a story about us being on the phone last night. That was freaking crazy, man. That was legit.
All right, well, let's wait for Brownie so we can talk about the event and everything. But now, last night on the phone, I go hit an area that I attempted to fish on Saturday, and the fish just was not in. And literally talking on the phone, talking about how we're going to do this interview, talking about Cass event and everything else we talk about in the world. And I end up landing my biggest smallmouth for the season, which I haven't posted it yet, but it's in 21.5 inches long, almost 5 pounds. And anyway, I didn't have my net beside me, so JL got to hear the screaming, the yelling, and then heard a big old splash as I dove into the James River because I couldn't flip it on to flip it up, and I went after that fish, and then I'm hollering, "I got it, JL! I got it, JL!"
That's true. There was that silence, and I heard the splash, and I was like, "Oh, hello,
yep.
hello."
No. I was going to get her. She wasn't getting away, so.
All right,
number 5 on the season and number 97 all time. We are 3 away from that century belt.
I know, man. That's freaking crazy. I just don't think people understand how the amount of effort you put in to get into that belt, man. Like, that's freaking crazy. I'm trying to get your photo. I got your fish. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is, folks. Right there. 21.5 put on the board in the monthly. Last night, probably was it like 6:30, something like that. It was early evening.
Early evening.
You know, and folks, I didn't even realize he was fishing when I was talking to him until he caught the fish.
Yep.
Because we talk a lot. I was just like, I didn't even realize it, and then all of a sudden, it was pretty crazy. So, Alson, I want to throw that in because that's crazy, and the fact that segue the monthly ends tomorrow. For the Roanoke and Central Division monthlies, and we kick off May. I just want to throw that in. That's a beautiful freaking 21.5. That's just crazy. Another Virginia citation. It's crazy. I sent it on to the state. Let them do with it as they will. Definitely.
I got to donate. I got to donate my $5 to them as well. So we can.
Yeah, gotta get that angle of recognition, man. I mean, especially when these citations now are starting rolling. I'm gonna try and get Brownie one more time. We'll pop him in here. Boom, boom. All right, Mike. Hopefully Mike's got his stuff squared away.
Come on, Mike Brown.
Come on, Mike. It's not. He popped out again. Oh, well. All right, Mike. I'm going to delete all these out of the way. But, yeah, so why don't you set the James River up for us real quick? You were like you're our resident James River guy.
Yep.
There have been a lot of people, a lot of different, assertions made about the James River. You know, I hear it all the time. Most people call me, ask me, you know, whether what's the better, what's the better New River versus James River always seems to be the debate in the chats. I think they're completely different river systems, but
absolutely,
absolutely. You are the expert when it comes in our community, I believe, when it comes to the James River, because you fish it more than anybody else.
But also too, I can sit and say I'm probably the only kayak angler that's went down in multiple series and put up over 90 inches on the New River. So I'm not going to say I'm a New River expert, but it's not too many guys show up on another river that's put up over multiple 90 inches in 2 different series.
Yeah.
But I think when you're looking to catch a whole lot of fish, I think James River is the river to go to. I think with the float and the access and stuff, to me, the power is on the New River. I fell in love with it the first time I fished it, just to feel the pure power of those 20-inch smallmouths, even the 18s and 16s. You never know what's coming up on the New River, but the James River, definitely no backseat to the New River. I mean, my 23 and a quarter that sits on there is a KBF national record, come off the James River. It's just, like I say, we all got our holes, and like I say, which is going to be one of those things, the James River versus the New River. And we've seen it in monthlies before where we've had guys come up and we fished James and the New, and they both put up 100 inches each month. So I mean, I think both of them are great fisheries. So everything in Virginia, as far as rivers go, I tell everybody, is a great fishery. So
yeah, I mean, it just I think there's just a few fisheries that have that name cachet. A lot of people, everyone's familiar with Susquehanna. You know what I mean, up in PA. But at the same time, it's like rivers like the Shenandoah, South Fork, North Fork, Shenandoah, the James or Upper James, especially the New River, sections of the New River, they're every bit as capable of putting up, the quality of fish as a lot of other rivers. You know what I mean? That seem to have that, like, a lot of that recognition and cachet. Because maybe national trails visit them a lot.
We get ready to put. Yeah. I said we get ready to put the hammer up on the James. I mean, it is May, and it's May and June. How it is. I think last May and June, I was sitting with about 12 citations, to 13 citations, and let's get ready to be on. Those big females are going to be ready to come up and play.
So what's your, like? All right. Hopefully, you might want to try and get Mike in here. What's your assessment right now, where we are with the cycle? Like, I mean, I know a couple of people called me the other day and said they saw fish spawning closer to Richmond.
Yeah.
What do you, in terms of your section where you fish primarily in the upper? There's Mike. Good to see you, Mike. And what do you see? What did you see this weekend when you were out there in terms of where the bass are right now?
I feel like they're still behind a lot of 14 to 15 inch smallmouth. You probably saw that on fish submissions. And so I feel like it's still 2 weeks, 3 weeks off. There's definitely nothing on the beds, because I've checked areas where I found them on the beds before and they're not there. But yeah, no, I think we're still a little bit behind. I mean, these storms have really, wrecked the season, and that cold has come in. So, like I say, I think the fireworks are getting ready to happen. I'm excited. I think after this cast event, I'm gonna, as someone told me the other day, because I love to use the word shock and awe, I'm ready to go shock and awe, baby.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think we've seen it set up for May. I mean, because of the winter. The winter certainly wasn't mild like the last couple of years, and everything seems to be about 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks behind. So it should set up. Mike, can you hear us, brother? I still don't think he can hear us tonight. I don't know. So last year, Troy, you finished in 3rd place.
Yep.
In this event, and then this year you finished in 2nd place behind Mike. What did you? Can you kind of like just break down what you found different this year or last year to this year? Kind of like how the river changed because of that winter. Because you know what I mean in terms of where did you fish in the same areas, or did you make a decision to, to like, because of the winter we had, And also give everybody a little bit of information on these dams, man. Like there's like 7 dams. Most people are not familiar with the James River west of Lynchburg, where there's like 7 dams.
Well, I chose to go opposite of what I did last year. I decided to go fish a different area that probably didn't have the sun on it and everything else is like I would like to have it early in the morning. It did stay foggy and overcast in the whole area, and I didn't have any luck at all. I was struggling. I think my first fish I submitted was 9 inches versus last year my first catch was I think 18 inches, and then boom, I popped a 19 and one big fish for the tournament. So everywhere I checked that morning and everything, I was not finding anything. Nothing was coming up good. And then I finally found an 18. And so then I went ahead and I kind of took the Thomas and Chris Johnson way they did last year. I went and used the sun and I figured, where can I go where the sun's already out, sun's already on the water? Maybe it's causing the fish to move, eat more, shad are moving around and stuff like that. And that's the biggest thing too. I'm not seeing a whole lot of shad in a lot of the areas. I can hear Mike. I can hear the crickets at his house. But so so I think that was the biggest difference with this year with me was I kind of took the opposite. Now I wish I went and started at the place because I ended up finding them at the end of the tournament and everything. I wish I went ahead and took my gut and went back and where I was at and just stayed there. But we live and learn. And then you asking about the dams. I found all week long that the areas I wanted to go fish at, it was not a whole lot of water where I wanted to fish at because they was running the pump houses. And you
Right.
figure today at a tournament, they flip them off, water's coming over the dam, and boom, they're there. So it's just, it's the heat, it's the generation of where they're going to make power. You can never trust you never can trust from Amherst County to Lynchburg how much water flows going to come over those dams. So, I mean, the Bedford Dam that's downriver didn't have any water coming over it. It had a chute that it was shooting through, but it was completely bone dry. And so that was off the plate. And it's just like I say, it's just just the way they run the dam systems and the way they make their money.
Yeah, I mean, and I think 2 of them. I don't know, I think like only 2. I guess some of those dams are related to the West Vaco, related to the paper mills, related to and it's like it's not even like municipalities. It's not even like generating like the water is not helping generate electricity and power for the towns. It's those specific businesses.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe it's like their needs, right? Like when these decisions get made, and a lot of times you just don't know. Like you don't know when that decision is going to get made. So so pretty interesting. I know we haven't. There's Mike. We got Mike's outside of Mike's house checking it out.
Yeah, we see. Can you hear us, Big
deer?
Mike?
Got probably some deer running through there. I don't know what's going on with Mike's microphone, but Mike Brown won our event on Saturday. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I know this is his first win in our series. Go ahead, Troy.
Let me say something about this guy real quick because I know he always can hear it. For over 4 years, this man's been riding side by side with me either in the truck, on the water.
Right.
We've been to Maryland. We've been to Shenandoah. We've been on the New River. We've been everywhere. He's watched me battle for this beautiful trophy that's finally in my home, that's sitting behind me right here that we can show off on the camera tonight. Encouragement. He's even fallen on the sword when those clowns want to run their mouth about me and all that stuff like that. But I'm going to tell you this right now. This man, for all that he's went through, is finally put a whole fishing thing together, and he got that win. And I tell you what, I was so proud of him. I didn't, I was telling you, I said I didn't really want to catch another fish because, I knew he was up there, and I was like, man, I feel like Dale Earnhardt. I just wanted to block the God beast for jumping us and make sure he can get Brownie, get that victory and all stuff like that. Man, I'm gonna tell you, when we finally saw that he had won this tournament and all that stuff like that, I ain't lying. I got goosebumps, I got chills because I was so proud of him because, like I say, it was his best fish.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were. I mean, that's just a beauty so far. Like like we got 2 brand new winners, right? Like first event, New River, James River. We don't we don't have a defending champ. So we've got new winners. That's what I like to see. Guys progressing. We had Ben last week. Just getting better. Guys just getting better. You know what I mean?
But
you can't, you can't ever dismiss your ride or die guys. You know what I mean?
No.
Guys that are going to have your back no matter
I'm gonna
what. I was like,
I,
it's just
I'm gonna
something,
tell you. I'm gonna tell you, he's seen the days of me fishing on the water. He knows when my grandmother passed away, and we laid her to rest the day before. I went on the river and fished beside him, heavy heart, and he was on the left side. I was on the right side. I caught everything that moved all day. We were throwing the same lures. He couldn't catch it, but he was the first person when they announced the winner to come over and put his arm around me because he knew how heavy my heart was of losing my grandmother and
yeah.
then going out there fishing and winning that tournament for her. That's just the type of guy Mike is, and I think everybody that knows I always ask, "Where's Brownie? Where's Brownie? Where's Brownie?" And just what a great achievement that he did to go out here and knock this out. And that's kind of same thing, with our team event. We had a strategy going into the team event on where we talked the night before where we were going to go fish. I went out and I had a chance to pre-fish a little bit more than Brownie does. It's me anyway, as I'm always out
Right.
bassing around. But so where Brownie went at and talked and all that stuff like that, I knew that the fish were there. And then, I do more of the get out and do a little more of the rugged and the dirty work. I like to get out, just like you, drag my kayak, wade. So I wanted to go get in and chase them and find them because if they're there, it's going to be a record day. And so, like I say, so our strategy we had when we went out was, we didn't choose to fish together. We chose to fish a few miles apart from each other. And like I say, he had a very successful day. And like I say, it was and we had a great team win. And shout out to the Gobbies as well because it's always you never know what they do, and they're two hell of a
Yeah,
fishermen as well. So
yeah, they're
yep,
legit. They're great
yep,
guys. It's
yep,
just it's great. We got people pushing each other. I mean, you guys had. I mean, we break it down a lot of, we break it down in our series, best 5, best 10 in our team division. We kind of do a little bit different, but overall, you guys both had 160.5 inches.
yep.
I mean, you guys, I think he might have had one or two more fish than you. I mean, you had bigger fish.
When he had big fish, and then we
Yeah.
both caught. He submitted 22, I submitted 20, and we both had
Yeah.
the same amount of inches. So
The same amount of inches. Like, that's what it
same
comes
amount
down
of
to. I mean,
yeah,
and kudos to Brownie, man, because I know I haven't not obviously had a chance. Hopefully I'll, be able to congratulate him this week down in South Boston.
Yep.
Man, when you get your PB, if you get your PB in an event, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
it's one thing I get it, monthlies or events, and you're out there and you're by yourself, you're on your own. But when you can compete in a single day event, in a team event, like he was competing with you, you can not only catch your PB, but catch your PB twice, right?
Yes.
Like, that's huge. That's what it's
Yep.
about. I think a lot of people, a lot of have gotten away from that, right? The importance of that. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I like the most is like to see with the guys. It's like, it's not always a 20, 21. Those are absolute freaking just crazy catches, right?
Yep.
But guys like Brownie last year caught, I think, like 77 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And half as many fish.
Yep.
And then this year he comes back having that under his belt, experience, right? Out on that river over the last year, however many times he's been out there, plus last year's event. And he comes in and he puts up 10 more fish and wins the event, right?
Absolutely.
He catches 11 more inches. I think he caught 11 more inches than he did last year. So it's
which I told you was going to be about 88 to win the tournament. So I thought it was going to be an 88-inch to take it on to James. So
yeah. And so that's just freaking awesome, man. I wish we didn't have. Hold on, that's probably Brownie on my phone. I wish we didn't always have these technical difficulties, but I'm gonna get Brownie on at some point, even if I got to interview him down at South Boston.
Well, do that, or just do a video him on there. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, do a solo video with him. I'll get back with him. It's tough sometimes. I mean, a lot of plus my spot, and then a lot of guys, it's tough with reception, and it's tough depending on where people live and everything that goes. It's just like being out on the river. It's just like this weekend, man. I'm gonna have absolutely no idea how you're doing. Know what I'm saying? Because there's no service, right? In a lot of these places down there where we're going to be this weekend. And so there's no way of knowing until the end of the day, I think.
I've already told folks, don't think I'm ghosting you if you don't hear anything from me Friday until after 8 o'clock or on Saturday until after 4 o'clock, because I just ain't going to have it. I'm just not going to be in cell service. We're going to be in the middle of no man's land. So, which is tough because just got to be cautious and just know where your surroundings and all that stuff. And I'm lucky I've made the float a few times, so I got the map in my head on where I want to go. But anything can always happen out there on the water. So like I said,
Yeah.
hopefully, I've activated my satellite for my phone as well. So just in case I need to make emergency calls or whatever
Yeah.
now, which I didn't have that feature by my iPhone updated. But getting back to the tournament, I think I told you as well when I was up fishing. I was throwing 14-inch fishes a crazy way. And it's just when I finally found the fish, I kind of found them on an accident. I didn't realize they were all going to be stacked up the way they were stacked up and all that. And I'm not going to give away free tips. If you want to pay me $10,000, anybody want to do it, I'll give you some free tips. But,
Yeah.
but I mean, it
Fish
was kind
tips
of, yeah,
online.
fish,
Troy
yeah,
Wines coming to fish
yeah.
tips.
But it was just that, I really was frustrated because still I was like, where in the world is these fish hiding at? And I was telling my daddy today on the telephone, I said, I got in my kayak. I said, well, these damn things have done pulled off and then went somewhere else. And I just, decided just to flip my bait one direction. And I said, oh, okay.
Right.
So I figured it out, and I said, and then I went ahead and pulled my kayak, and then I got in and floated again, and then I caught 16 in a row. It was like boom, 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 and then of course it just changed my whole day. And as people was fishing everywhere around me in kayaks, and some people were wading and everything like that, they wasn't catching crap, and I'm sitting here trying to make sure I don't make any noise because I didn't want anybody to figure out what I figured out where they were laid up and staged up in. So
Yeah. I mean, I just think that place, especially, west of in between those dams and west of those dams, there's just so many places for them to go. You know
yep,
what I mean? And it's just like they're not. People say it all the time. It's like they don't understand how far these smallies move.
yep,
Like, like you said, you started out in the spot and it wasn't happening,
skunk,
you know? And
skunk,
you got to move. Like, it's like
yep,
in a one day tournament, you got to move. You know what I mean?
yep, yep.
Um, and so, it's just that's always just like that trick when you're in one day tournaments on a river like the James, because they move miles and miles. And yeah, there is dams and whatever, but you can still be in between two dams and they can be in like half a dozen different places, right? Like,
Yep,
you
absolutely.
know, um, water clarity wise, what were you looking at? Like, I know we had some rain in the morning. I know Adam
Oh
White
yeah,
posted a video.
yep,
I shared
yep,
the video in our private community when he launched on the river. He was east of you guys, east of
yep,
Lynchburg, so closer to Richmond,
yep.
and it was coming down, like it was coming down at 6 o'clock in the morning when he launched.
Oh yeah,
Nice
I
shot,
was wet.
just
I
a
was
nice
wet.
visual.
Yeah, I was wet. That was another thing too. The water clarity where I started off first was just completely nothing there. I mean, it wasn't clean water. I did try to do a little bit of dirty river fishing and just was not successful at all. And then that's why I said, well, I'm gonna get out of this dirty water because I figured the creeks had done, dropped, the sand and every mud had done washed into it. So I went ahead and went up river. I started moving closer up to James, where I knew there'd be more fresh water, more clean water. And, that's where I got on my fish at, by getting out of that dirty water. Sometimes dirty water helps you. For me on Saturday, it wasn't. It was going to find clean water.
And so, for those of you guys who don't know, who tune in, obviously Troy's been on a few times. Troy runs a Hoodoo, but you're not running a trolling motor. You're running a
Nope.
light kayak, right? That's a 110. It's a one element 110.
It's element 110, completely, I completely paddle everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, so I think a lot of people should that in terms of the James River, that you do not have to have a motor, right? Like, you can
No,
pick that
no.
river apart without a motor. And I count that to, like I said before, there's so many access points. You know what I mean? There just is.
Yeah. Yep.
There's some don't. There's some sections in between those dams west of Lynchburg that I don't think have public access, but there are plenty of ramps further west, for those people, especially west of like Natural Bridge, going all the way up
Yeah.
to the headwaters of the Jackson and cow pasture. That there's pretty much public access, probably like every 10 or 12 miles, right?
That and creek access and all the stuff like
Yeah.
that. If you know the area and you know where you can get pulled off and fish, there's plenty of guys that know the area where you can park and get in creek access and then enter the river that way as well. So that isn't private property as well. So
Yeah.
I mean, we
Um,
we take full use on everything that we can find and use and all the stuff like that. And like I say, with me, the way I like to fish, I'm a complete paddle guy. I'm not crazy about a motor. It's I debated on using a motor this coming up weekend, but then I say, you know, I know a few spots that I want to hop out of my kayak when I go down go down the river, and trying to have a 12 footer and handling all the lithium batteries and the motor and stuff like that. It's done. But I'm gonna tell you, I do wish I had it sometimes when it's 88 degrees outside and I'm like, all that paddling. But that's why I go to the gym.
Right. I mean, I think it might be a little cooler this weekend, obviously down in Southwest Virginia for this one coming up this weekend. So,
Yep.
that always helps. 80-degree sweet spot,
Yep.
little overcast will help.
88 tomorrow. 88 tomorrow here. 88 degrees.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to be like high 80s everywhere tomorrow, and then it's going to drop.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens. So you nailed the 88 for prediction for the James River. So what are you thinking Bassathon on? You got to remember there's Friday and Saturday. But what are you thinking? How those boys do down there this weekend for Kayak Adventure Series? How many inches you think wins this?
I think it's probably going to be definitely close to in the 90s. A lot of it's going to depend on how those largemouth are acting right now. You got the striper and the white bass. I know I hate to be a hater, but I hope they get in a whole lot of people's way. Because I know I'm going to be chasing Smallies. Where I'm going to go fish at for my 2 days. By me doing fish submissions before, I put up 95 inches in one day. So so I'm hoping that the smallmouth are there and all that. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you anything about what people are doing on lakes. What I see, what everyone's doing on lakes is on boats, and which is a different beast than fishing off the boat because they're using all the other targets. Kayaks. I saw some tournaments this weekend, like you said. I see 90 some inches. I think I seen the Carolina guys. Somebody had 100 inches again. On the I think is the CAK? Is that I don't want to?
I think it is CK. I think Carolina.
Yeah,
Carolina.
Yeah. That dude had 100 inches, and I'm like,
that's the thing is that you're probably going to run into a lot. This Saturday being 80s, high 70s, and plus the word spreading that the bass are bedding up now. Saturday's probably going to be a heavy boat day. At virtually every lake, in our region, like it's especially, Richmond and obviously Smith Mountain and Bugs.
My strategy has never changed. My strategy is to be on the river, feel like that I can find 5 quality smallmouth in a day and a half that Drew's giving us to fish, if they're there, and it's a good chance someone's going to find 5 quality largemouth. I'm sure smallmouth's not going to win big fish, but I'm going to tell you, on the Stanton River, I caught one almost 22 inches down there, and I've noticed.
Yeah,
there's some big ones in there.
It can happen, man. If they're 20s to 20, like you said, they're there. There's bigs there that are not pressured. They're not pressured.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like other places, like the New and the James, obviously, and Upper Potomac and Rappahannock. They're just down there, and there's, like I said, it's like you said, long floats. You got to do a float, and a lot of people aren't willing to do that, the long floats, and so a lot of those areas aren't pressured. So I think 90's easy. I think 90. I'm not going to be surprised if somebody drops 90 inches of smallmouth on the board. Not.
Yep.
Given you got so many areas that you can fish, 3 rivers, 2 which have.
Yep.
One I'm not sure has smallmouth as much, but 2 that definitely have smallmouth. You got the Dan has largemouth and smallmouth. But like you said though.
I couldn't tell you about the Bannister River. The only thing I could tell you about the Bannister River, I think that thing is available. I've always heard that that's catfish water. I've always heard that's big blue cats are now in there. I know that where the mouth of the banister I think meets the dam, if that's correctly. I've heard people saying that they
Yeah.
go up in there, but I've never heard anything big at
Yeah, I mean,
all
it's not
about
far. I mean, where
yeah,
Bannister enters the Dan River is not that far from the
yep,
Stanton River State Park. It's
yep,
not really that far. It enters into a really wide and deep Dan River where it
yep,
enters in. But
yep.
you got Bannister Lake too, so it's going to definitely be interesting.
Well, Bannister,
Definitely going to be interesting to see,
well,
man.
Bannister, well,
But
well,
listen,
I'll tell you
man.
this before I jump off here.
Uh,
I want to
yeah,
tell you about Bannister Lake before I jump off here. I know they just had a tournament there this weekend on Bannister Lake. One of the tournaments trails that I fish on the boats, they had their big mouth bass in there, and they go by they go by the actual creed limit as far as what you can keep, but I think like 5 pounds won it on 3 fish, and because they only doing 3 fish bags, I don't think as any
yeah,
big fish has been caught. I know a guy caught a monster one in there last year, which was rare, but that's a really dirty lake fishery down that way. I mean, I go across it all the time for work, and I see the Bannister
yeah.
Lake. But
It's a
like I
lot of
say,
runoff
if you wanna,
gets put in that
yep,
lake.
yep,
But
yep.
I
So
think that, I mean, I think their surveys are pretty, average, for large. There's no smallmouth in there, guys. Largemouth bass,
yep,
but definitely catfish that go down into the freaking as an in Bannister Lake and heads down to the Denver. That's some big catfish country. From what I
yes,
understand.
sir.
So, but it'll be here when I get off in Austin on the next one. We could talk about it because
All right.
Austin caught a 19.25 as well. So we had 3 19.25s coming out of the Upper
Yep.
James, which is awesome. And then we're on after this Bassathon fun experience. Hopefully massive catches this weekend. We are on to the Shenandoah River, so
Yep.
I'm really excited.
All right.
Really excited to get back to the Shenandoah River because I think that's another one that's just gonna, I think we'll break it. I think we'll break last year's number. Really starting to show out right now the week. Anything
Yep.
else you want before we go?
Okay. Well, thank you for having me on. No, thank
No
you.
problem.
Thank
Make
you
sure
for
you
having me
bring
on. I
that
just
trophy
like
with
to
you so I can get some
finally
pictures
show.
of that.
I'll bring it. I'll bring that trophy. Need to get it. Everybody can see it. The
That's right. There's your
2024 Smallmouth
smallmouth
series.
KVF smallmouth champion 2024
Yep.
right there. He still has, to my
105.
knowledge, 105. He used to my. I haven't checked it in a while. I don't follow KVF as much anymore, but I still think 23.5 is the big fish on the board, right?
Yes, I submitted myself
Smallmouth
today.
is still the
Yep,
biggest
and
fish
it was on it. Yep,
on that board. So
yep,
that's pretty awesome. That's what we like to hear.
yep,
But all right, Mr.
yep.
Wines,
All right,
appreciate
thank
you.
you,
I'll see you
thank
this
you, man.
weekend. All right, man.
I'll talk to you for that. I could talk to you for that, and you know what? Keep on bassing around. That's what we're gonna do, baby.